Hi everyone, I'm Kat and welcome to my channel, Naturally Beautiful Girl. So today I'm going to be bringing you a brand overview of Erin's faces. And I have to say I am so excited to have tested out these products. I've heard a lot about Erin's faces in the clean beauty space, and especially since she launched her concealer. I keep seeing her concealer everywhere and I was like, I need to try out this line. And I have to thank you guys so much for your suggestions and recommendations of products for me to try. Honestly, when I went on our website, I wanted to try everything and I think you guys really gave me some A+ recommendations. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is kind of sharing my thoughts on a variety of different products from her brand. I'll also be inserting demos of me using some of the makeup products, and let's just jump right into it. So Erin's Faces is a rather small clean beauty brand out of New York, and Erin's Faces does a wide variety of products ranging from makeup to skincare to also some body care products as well. It's also at a pretty reasonable price point, which I appreciate as well. You know, clean beauty can be really expensive. These aren't the most affordable, but I would say they sit like middle range in terms of price. So the first product I'm going to start off sharing my thoughts on is this Mineral Sheer Tint. And this is a broad spectrum SPF 20 product. I have the shade Porcelain in it. And I didn't apply this one today because I used the foundation, but I'm going to show you a swatch of what this looks like. The only problem I have with this product is the shade, and I think this may have been my own doing. The shade Porcelain leans very yellow toned, as you can see on my skin. It is a more sheer product. When I blend it out, it's not as much of an issue because it is a sheer product. Would I prefer the shade to be a little bit less yellow toned? Yes, but can I make it work? Also yes. So this product, it is a mineral-based sunscreen, and which I really like. I only use physical sunscreens, which are often also called mineral-based sunscreens. It really just kind of evens out your skin tone. It doesn't really add any coverage. So I have enjoyed using this product. I did take it with me when I was traveling in California and Florida, but I did really enjoy that, especially when I wanted no makeup days where I really just want to throw on a sunscreen product and run out the door. This is perfect, and it is quite a lightweight product. I find it to not be overly dewy or overly matte. It kind of just sits right in the middle in terms of finish. I do enjoy this product and I think it does work really well. I also have used this underneath other foundations when I wanted a bit of SPF. I'll put this on first and then go in on top with another foundation. It works really well that way. So if you're looking for a very light coverage product with a bit of SPF, this is a really good option. What I actually used today instead of this product was the Erin Faces Mineral Liquid Powder Foundation. This one does also contain SPF. It's only SPF 15 though, so it is a little bit lower in SPF than this one. And I have the shade Linen in this foundation. And I have to say, when I was looking on the Erin's Faces website, I mean, you guys had asked me to try out both the Mineral Sheer Tint and the foundation, but what sold me on trying out this foundation was I saw on the website that the cast of Hamilton had used this foundation, and I was like, wait a minute, I love Hamilton. I would totally be down for that. And the other thing that told me was that the shade range of this is very good as well, because one of the really amazing things about Hamilton is it has a very diverse cast, which is amazing. If the entire cast is using a makeup product, what that means then is that there's going to be a really good shade range, which I definitely feel is the case. I did go ahead and apply this foundation today. I have applied it just using my fingers, but I typically prefer applying foundations with a brush, and so that's what I did today. The coverage I would say is like a light to light medium coverage. Like, it does provide coverage a lot more than just this product. So the coverage of the foundation is higher, but it's not as full coverage as something like my Ilia True Skin Serum Foundation. Like, the coverage of that one is much higher, but definitely provides enough coverage. I do have some acne spots on my forehead, and as I'm applying the foundation, you can still see them peeking through, but I am able to add some concealer and get everything concealed where I'd like it to be. Let me give you a swatch of the shade. You can see obviously the shade when I'm applying it onto my face. It is also a little bit yellow toned, but I can also get it to work. I just have to make sure I get it blended out quite well. I felt this way with both of the foundation complexion products, that there was not really a good like neutral tone shade. They were either kind of like yellow tone, and I wish that there was a little bit more of a neutral shade option for both of these. It would personally just work a little bit better for me, but I can make the shades work. This foundation is definitely a little bit more matte. That makes sense given the name that says mineral liquid powder foundation. That gives you the sensation that would be something a little bit more matte. And I definitely find that to be the case. It works really well for me because I have oily skin. Prior to applying this foundation, I do try to have a moisturizer underneath just to give my skin a little bit of extra hydration and moisture. I find that it helps this foundation apply better and just overall work better. So that's my recommendation with this. I do find that it wears really well on me throughout the day. It's not breaking apart. So I really have been enjoying this. I wouldn't use this completely on its own if I'm gonna be out in the sun a lot. Just because the SPF is so low, I would use another SPF product underneath it. But I think if you really are not going to be out much in the sun, say you're just running from your car into a store and back into your car, like that's fine. But if you're gonna be outside for an extended period of time, I would use another SPF in addition to it. But overall, I really like both of these products. I think it really just depends on what type of coverage you're looking for. If you want something a little bit more full coverage, go for the foundation. If you want something very light coverage, go for the mineral sheer tint. Though I will say if you have really dry skin, this foundation may not work well for you. That's just my thought given how matte of a formula that it is. Moving on to the product that everyone has been talking about. This is the Erin Faces concealer, and I have the shade Cottonwood, which is the lightest shade of this concealer. I really love the packaging of this. Like, it is just really nice weighty packaging. It looks beautiful. Like, I just think this is beautiful, beautiful packaging. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the shade of the concealer on my hand so you can see. And this concealer, out of the 3 complexion products, I feel has the best shade for me. There you see it right there. And when you look at it with my skin tone, it looks a little bit peachy compared to my hand, but my hand is also fairer than my face for some reason. But I find that this is a really good shade for me in terms of concealer. So I have used this concealer. I'm wearing it today. I'll show you me applying it. I use it under my eyes and also conceal acne spots, which says a lot about this concealer because there are not many concealers that I feel work well for both applications. So I find really the Ilia True Skin Serum concealer is the only one that I really like to use under my eyes and on acne spots. Like, the formula is just really good. So what that says is that the formula of this one's also really good. I got this one actually around the same time as the Kosas Revealer Concealer and was kind of trying them out together. And I have to say, I prefer the formula of this one better. I find that it stays in place better under my eyes. And it also has more coverage and does a better job of concealing acne as well. And I think another reason why I prefer this concealer to that one is the shade. The problem I have with the Kosas Revealer Concealer is that the lightest shade is quite yellow toned, and I can get away with the foundation being a little bit yellow toned, but if I have a concealer that's yellow toned, it just makes my under eyes look weird. Like, the color, especially with dark circles and having it be a little bit yellow like that mixed together, just does not look good, and I don't like how it looks on me. So I'd much rather have something that leans a little bit more pink toned like this concealer, because I just think that's a lot more flattering on me. I do find that this concealer, I can get it to set with my 14E setting powder and it stays in place really well. It'll crease a little bit throughout the day, but it's very minor, or reminds me of the Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer. If I get some little creases, I can just, use my finger to just kind of blend them out throughout the day, and then I'm fine. But overall, I can see why so many people have been loving this concealer. I think it's really great as well, and it's definitely moved into being one of my top concealers. I'm not sure that it's quite surpassed my Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer, because that one is just so good. And I think the reason I love it so much is that it is a bit of a self-setting formula. It really dries down and requires minimal setting. This one does dry down a lot better than a lot of other concealers that I've tried, but it's not quite as good as that one. The Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer is like my #1, and this is like barely second place after that one. I think it's kind of tied with the Hand Skincare Cosmetics Concealer, which I honestly also really love. but this is a really good product. If you've been curious about it, I highly recommend checking it out. I got so many requests to try out this product, and honestly, I was a little bit nervous to do it. And the reason why is that I absolutely love my Ilia Pure Eye Primer, and I have loved it for years. And I was like, nothing can touch that. Nothing can replace it. But I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. So I decided to try out the Erin's Faces Eye Primer, and I'm not quite sure that it has replaced my Ilia Pure Eye Primer, but it has become the closest. And I love both of them, and I love them for different reasons. So I'm going to tell you why. First off, this eye primer is tinted. So if you want an eye primer that not only primes your eyes, but also acts as a bit of a concealer, this is a great option for you. I mean, I know that the shade of this eye primer is not going to be universal. I think it'd be really awesome actually if Erin came out with more shades of this eye primer, because I could see that being really helpful. I've got a bit of the eye primer dotted right here on my hand, so you can see that it is tinted, and obviously when I apply it onto my eyelid it's tinted as well. What that bit of tint does is it really just helps to cancel out any of the veins that you see on your eyes. I mean, everyone has veins on their eyelids. Because my skin is super fair, veins show up on me really easily just because my skin is really fair, and that's just how it looks all over my body. You can really clearly see where I have veins. So I really like that this just kind of cancels everything out. I haven't used a tinted eye primer before and really didn't understand why people love them so much until I tried this one and was like, okay, it provides a really nice, just clean base for you to go on top with shadows. Here's what I have to say. I have oily eyelids. I have oily skin overall, and I have oily eyelids, and my eyelids are hooded, which just means that it is really, really hard for me to get eyeshadow to stay in place. And I am a huge eyeshadow lover, but I will find partway through the day that my eyeshadow will just kind of migrate. It's better when I use, for instance, the Ilia Pure Eye Primer compared to no eye primer. But even with the Ilia Pure, it will eventually transfer from my lid to my crease, and the shadow itself will eventually crease. And then along comes this eye primer. With this eye primer, my eyeshadow stays in place. I did not think it was physically possible for my eyeshadow to stay in place as well. I had tried conventional beauty eyeshadows. I had tried the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. I had tried the Urban Decay Primer Potion. Before switching to Clean Beauty, I had tried out all the classic conventional beauty eye primers, and they all helped a little bit, but none of them really solved the problem. And then along comes this one. And I have to say this, if you are struggling to get your eyeshadow to stay in place, there is no eye primer that I have found in clean beauty or conventional beauty that works as well as this one. The formula on this one's a bit interesting. It's a little drier. You have to kind of really blend it out, but I think that dryness of the formula is really what helps to create the space that allows your eyeshadow to really stay in place. And what's interesting about this eye primer too is I've tried it with powder eyeshadows and with liquid eyeshadows, and it works beautifully with both. Today I paired it with a liquid eyeshadow. I've tried it with the Kosas 10-second eyeshadows, and those work really well on me, but when I pair them with this base, like, they don't move, they don't budge. They are there all day long. And the same thing with traditional powdered eyeshadows. If I use with this base, they are just like in place. Eventually, like maybe at the very end of my day, like if I've been wearing my eyeshadow for 12 hours, yes, things will start moving around, but I can make it from, you know, going to work in the morning to when I leave work at the end of the day. My eyeshadow is still looking really, really good when I use this. The only drawback of this eye primer compared to the Ilia Pure is the Ilia Pure is kind of tacky when you first put it down, and because of that consistency, it really intensifies eyeshadow. So if you put down a metallic eyeshadow on top of the Ilia Pure Eye Primer, when it's still tacky, it really intensifies it and makes it look even more metallic. This one doesn't have that effect. It's more equivalent to if you just put your eyeshadow down without a primer. Like, that's kind of the effect that you get with this eye primer. I one day tried layering the Ilia Pure Eye Primer on top of this one and then putting the eyeshadows on top, and although it did help to intensify the eyeshadows, then it kind of messed with the wear time, so the wear time wasn't as good. So I think given that trade-off, I would rather just use this one, and maybe my eyeshadows are not quite as intense, but they are gonna last longer. I guess if I was doing a look, I don't know, for YouTube and I really want my eyeshadows to really pop, maybe I will reach for the Ilia Pure, but if I want in my real life my eyeshadows to wear a really long time, this is the eye primer I reach for. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is probably, it may be my new favorite eye primer. It sounds so crazy to say that, but I absolutely love it. If you have hooded, oily eyelids and struggle with keeping eyeshadows in place, I highly recommend this. Moving on to the last makeup product that I tried from Erin's Faces. This is actually a liquid eyeshadow, and this is in the shade Eclipse, and I am wearing this on my lids today. It's kind of this peachy champagne color, and it's not the most intense of liquid eyeshadows, but it's really pretty. I've got it swatched right here on my thumb, and it just reflects the light really nicely. There were, I think, 2 colors of this eyeshadow, of this liquid eyeshadow. And I thought this one was just really nice because it was a very everyday shade. And I did put this on top of the eye primer today. I've tried it with the eye primer, without the eye primer. It wears really well, but when I put it with the eye primer, it's like budge proof. And I really like this shade because it looks so natural. If I want to do that no makeup look, but I just want to do something to make my eyes pop a little bit, this is perfect because it's very close to my skin tone. I just put it on my lids and blend it out with my fingers and I'm good to go. I love liquid eyeshadows for that purpose because they're just really easy to throw on, run out the door. I was really surprised. I didn't have that high of hopes for it, but I really was impressed. I mean, overall, I have to say, I mean, I think you're getting the gist of this, that Erin's Faces products are really good. And I bought these all with my own money. I am not sponsored. I was not sent these. Like, I purchased all of these. But I have been so impressed. Really, I want to try out every single product from Erin's Faces. Like, I would love to do that. Let's move on to some skincare products. I picked up 2 skincare products to try out. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Micellar Water, which is a cleansing makeup remover. And this is the little sample size of it. With a lot of skincare products, there were sample sizes, which I think is super nice. And I have used this a number of times to remove my makeup, and I've tried a number of like cleanser, like micellar cleansers and like kind of makeup toner, makeup remover things. This one works so well. It just gets my makeup off. Like, I put it on a reusable cotton round, you know, I rub it around my face, it gets my makeup off, and I've honestly been super impressed. And one of the things that's really stood out to me about this product is I don't have to keep putting more and more of the micellar water onto my reusable round. I normally have to wet it twice, like once and I'll do like half my face and then kind of re-wet it and do the other half. But that's it. Like, I find that I need very minimal product. It works really well to break down my face makeup, my eye makeup. Like, it just does a great job getting everything off. I am super impressed. If you are at all curious about this, I highly recommend checking it out. It works super well. Okay, and then the last product I've tried out is the Pumpkin Enzyme Peel Mask. Erin's Faces has a number of masks, and I chose this one. I forgot who recommended this one to me. Someone did. Someone recommended I try this one, and I feel like I'm trying it a little bit off season because pumpkin is definitely like a very fall scent and we're in spring now. But, you know, who doesn't love pumpkin at any time of the year? It still smells delicious. So I was actually pretty surprised by this mask because it is a super potent mask. Like, it is really powerful. It definitely is very tingly when you put it on. You can feel the enzyme peel happening. Like, it is a strong mask. Out of all the products I tried from Erin's Faces, this is honestly probably my least favorite, and the reason is it's a little too strong for my skin. Like, I turned quite red while I was using it. It was not uncomfortable. I wasn't having a reaction to it. It was just, this is a very potent product. Like, if you want a potent enzyme mask, like, this is it. But if you have more sensitive skin, I would maybe recommend passing on this one, because I've tried a number of kind of enzyme chemical exfoliating masks, and this one was just like a little too much. Also, this is one of those enzyme masks that feels hot. I prefer the ones that feel like cool and tingly. To me, that's just way more comfortable. This one kind of feels warm when you put it on. I think the fact that I turned red was kind of a fact that my skin just like does better with like the cool tingly type of mask rather than like the warm tingly type of mask. It worked really well. Like my skin was like super soft afterwards, but I wouldn't like purchase the full size of this. I'll use it up, but I'm not going to purchase the full size of it just because there are other masks that I find that are just a little bit better suited for my skin. Overall, I am super impressed with Erin's faces. I really enjoyed the brand. If you've been curious about the brand, I highly recommend checking them out. I've heard about them in clean beauty, but I feel like Erin's faces does not get enough recognition. I'm really excited to be bringing you this video because I hope it really inspires some of you to try out some of the products because I think they're just really, really good. I feel like, yeah, the concealer is really well talked about, but I feel like some of these other products are like some really awesome, like best kept secrets in clean beauty. But I highly, highly, highly recommend them. If you enjoyed this video and enjoyed me trying out brands and giving you an overview of the brand, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my videos, and check me out on Instagram. I'm at naturallybeautifulgirl. I've been a bit more active on there recently, especially because I'm stuck at home as many of you are. So I'm trying to keep you guys updated on what's going on. Also trying to keep myself sane. So check me out there so we can be friends, hang out online. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.